listeners. We're really glad to have you back to Over 50 and Fired Now What with Linda
and Shelley.
So last time, Shelley, we discussed about branding, and it was focused on your LinkedIn profile, which really, in today's world, serves as your broad-based first impression.
But Linda, before we begin, we're going to talk about our wine selection for the evening. It's a Primus, a blend from Colchagua.
Very good, Shelley.
Thank you, Valley and Chile. It's a delicious, wonderful blend that's really quite tasty.
Bottoms up.
So everyone may be wondering, what the hell is executive presence? And up-credentialing. So Linda, tell us something about it.
So we're going to start first with talking about executive presence. And it's really about how you make others feel and how you kind of create a persona. And you want to make sure that you're making sure that they feel good and that they want to spend time with you. And that you're smart about how they're going to look at hiring you into their organization. So it's all about the outward look into how they see you and how they feel comfortable with you.
So what do you need to do to get aware of and get good at and really get good at?
So there's some rules, and what Shelley and I did is we put together the 7 essentials of executive presence. And these can cut across anywhere. So it doesn't matter whether or not you're on Skype or it's an in-person interview or even on the phone. Right, Shelley? All of these can be done in any type of venue.
Yep. It's amazing how people can see through whatever it is. Whatever vehicle you're leveraging, people can see through and pick up on your presence.
Exactly. So we're going to start. We have 7 of them, and the first one is be positive and have a really high energy.
High likability. You really want to make sure that people are enjoying you enjoying your company. You want to make sure that you're smiling. Even on the phone, you need to be a happy Harry.
That's right. Not a negative Nancy.
No, or a Debbie Downer.
That's right. So I can actually speak to this and give some examples, because what I found is when I'm with recruiters who really are not looking to place you into the organization, or they're not part of the organization, but they're looking for people who have sort of good background, good fit for the skill sets, and they seem to be very positive and someone that they like to be around. So with recruiters, I seem to do extremely well. Like, they want me to be brought in to interview with the organization. And that's because, as we've talked about in some of the other episodes, is I show a lot of passion. I have a lot of energy, and that really shows through to them. And they're all excited about bringing me to the company. But then what I found is sometimes the company isn't looking for someone with a lot of energy and a lot of passion. And they really want someone who's a little bit more toned down, who can really feel that they are in command, kind of cool cucumber.
Yeah, but it's not that they don't want your passion. They want your passion, but they want that balance between how do I have all that passion and bring it to life in a way that doesn't scare people like you scare me sometimes.
Exactly. I think it's the energy level in my voice and just the way I present myself. I just have to dial those things back. They're not bad to have. It's just the level in which I bring it. I have to understand that. It works for recruiters who are excited about me and say, wow, this person, she's dynamic. And then when I come to the company, I have to realize I'm going to have to dial it back down so they can take me seriously and know that I'm an executive.
Yep. So you just want to bring it down a notch, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then the second one really is about being an active listener, right? So make them feel good and be interested in what they're saying. I know for me, I love to listen. That's one of my strengths. I'm not a big talker. I might be like a type B, and, Linda loves to talk, type A, but I'm not like that. I pride myself on being a good listener.
Right. And so for me, you have to realize that if you're a bit more type A, which I am, and I think Shelley's a type B, although she'll argue with me about that.
I will.
So when you're type A in particular, is you don't want to seem over aggressive, or you don't want to seem that you're too excited about a role or a job, because you want to be in command, and you don't want to feel like you're kind of like riding over someone. You do want to present yourself that you know what you're talking about and you can give good examples, but you also have to stop sometimes, look to see if they have questions for you, or if there's any information or something that they want to bring to the discussion. And sometimes you just kind of hold back, and you've got to try to listen.
Right, but you also don't want to be to the point where you're so laid back like sometimes you think I am, where you're almost dead. You can't be, right? Because when you're that laid back, it seems like you're disinterested. And you want to show the passion, but you got to find that balance.
Right. So if you could just marry Shelley and I together
we'd
in
be
interviews.
Great. We'd be great.
We'd be awesome. All right, for the third one, it's all about how can you build trust. And that's really hard to do because you don't have a lot of time to build that trust. So, Shelley, what do you think are some things that do build that trust?
I think it's really important that you be attentive and that you're concerned about their challenges, right? And you're asking the questions about how do you get to their goals? How are you going to help them overcome the obstacles that they're facing in today's market?
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is that while you're doing that, you have to be genuine. You have to really make sure that you're really speaking from the heart and who you are, and you're not pretending to be someone else, because that is going to come through one way or the other.
Right. And you really got to have eye contact, right? You got to stare somebody in the face, in the eyes, because they got to see the sincerity coming through. Because if I'm like, if I'm in an interview or having a conversation and I'm looking all over the place, people might think I'm really shifty, and I don't want to be that.
Exactly. If you're darting away from their direction, they're thinking, what are they hiding? And you may just be nervous, so you have to be conscious of that and make sure that you're looking at them directly and making that eye contact, because it can really make a difference.
Right.
And then the other is the body language, right? So you don't want to be closed off in your body language.
You mean I can't cross my arms?
Not a good thing, because they're going to feel like you're not approachable.
Right.
All right. So make sure that the way that you kind of situate yourself, and the way that your arms and your hands and just sort of even the positioning of your body is engaging and approachable, and you don't feel like that you're closed off in any way.
And you want people to really feel like they want to spend time with you, because if you are all closed off, who wants to spend time with you? Before you know it, your interview's over before it even started.
Right. Remember, they're hiring you into your organization, and where do you spend most of your time? 8 to 12 to 14 hours a day. It's in your work environment. And so they're going to want someone that they want to be there and that they want to interact with. So what's the next one? Number 4.
I don't know. I can't find it. Be TV ready.
That's right. So, Shelley, number 4. What's number 4 for executive presence?
Number 4 is be TV ready.
Always on. That's what our motto is.
Yep, and we talked about this before. You always have to be prepared. You always have to make sure that, what if you run into somebody in the supermarket? You don't want to look like a dog. You don't want to be like, a mess. You got to look good. You got to be ready and always be prepared. Because you never know.
So it's attire, it's hair, it's, makeup, it's whatever. But you want to look finished. Whether or not it's a casual finished or it's a business finish, you need to look finished.
Yeah, finished, a little polished, whatever.
Right.
Don't put on your dirty jogging pants from the day before.
That's a good tip, Shelley. I hope everyone remembers that one. All right, so the other thing is it always carries over also in where you have a photograph or a representation of yourself. So remember that includes your LinkedIn profile, that it should look polished and professional and sort of, finished.
Yeah, what is it that they say? Like, if you have a really nice headshot that's, to Linda's point, more professional, sometimes you get like 17 times more viewership because you look good.
That's right. That's what we learned from our outplacement consultants, is that picture actually matters on LinkedIn profile. Mm-hmm. And how it's put together and how it looks and whether or not it's going to give you that sense of executive presence.
Yeah, it's amazing how the whole package really comes to light.
All right, so number 5, know your industry trends. You should, if you're putting yourself out as an expert in an area, make sure that you know what's going on in that area at the time that you're interviewing or looking at a new opportunity.
Yeah, you want to make sure that they feel like they can come to you so that you can answer the questions and you know what's happening, what the future trends are going to be, and that really you want to make sure that they know they can tap into your expertise. Because without it, why bother?
You want to make sure that they feel as if this person has something to offer us. They have sort of that understanding or the pulse on what's going on out there, and we want to have that in our organization.
They want to say, I got to have Linda. Right. I just have to have Linda, and I need her now. I want her now, and I need her now.
Right now.
Right now.
All right, number 6, Shelley.
You got to have some poise, man. What do we mean by that, Lynn?
So that has to do what we talked about a little bit earlier, is that whole idea of body language and understanding what your sort of vibe that you're giving off to people. You should be standing up straight, shoulders back, chin up, And that helps if you have a double chin.
Yes.
Get you to hide that thing, right? So you should look like an executive, like you have command of the room, that you're confident. And that really is about positioning of your body and how you kind of use your body, in the space that you're given. Mm-hmm. And actually, for executives, you should be taking up as much space as you can, because that sort of just sends out a message that I'm commanding this area and I can garnish this space.
Just don't squeeze me in. I don't like feeling claustrophobic. So you can take up some of the space, just don't take up all the space.
No, you don't want to get into other people's space.
Right.
That's the one thing. Don't get into other people's space. And then there's the 5 C's.
Yeah, and we tried really hard to see 5 to the 5th power. I thought there was something like, 3 cubed, but we don't know. It's 5 to the 5th power. What are they? It's being about, being calm. You want to be cool. You want to be collected and competent and confident. Right? Those are all really important components as you're trying to, establish your presence.
Right, but you also have to make sure that when you're doing this and you want to create sort of that commanding, executive presence, that you're not an ass. You have to be polite. You have to be nice.
Do you always have to be nice? Sometimes it's really hard for me to always be nice, Linda.
Gotta be nice.
It doesn't work.
If you're interviewing, if you're talking to someone who you want a job opportunity for, you've got to just swallow and just be nice.
You got to figure out a way to bite your tongue, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
All right.
And then what's the 7th thing?
So the 7th one is about, building your network and staying connected. And when we talk about that is Shelley's famous, don't be a shut-in.
Yeah, you don't want to spend your whole life in your house.
So you have to connect with others. But it's not just you gaining from that relationship, is you really also have to help others connect to resources and to other people. Because once you get that going, if other people feel that you're going to connect them, they will then in turn return that favor. That whole pay forward really works in this whole area of connecting and connecting to others.
Yes, and you really need to keep it going and growing, right?
Exactly.
That's important. And I'm not a real big networking fan, but I do realize it is important. It might be torturous for me, but it's important.
And that's an important thing, that if you have others who, like Shelley, like it's really difficult. Sometimes
Shelley the shut-in.
Sometimes you have to say, just Shelley, you can't stay in with your cats anymore. You have to come out. Let's go to a network meeting, or let's meet with these people and have lunch or whatever. You can't always just be in your comfort zone.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You need to step outside, because you never know. You might just meet that and make that right connection. That might be the one.
And the other thing is you need to be persistent about the way that you build your network and you stay connected and you go after sort of those opportunities with people that you've connected with. So it's really good to make sure that you follow up and you go that extra mile. You really have to distinguish yourself from all of these like hundreds of other candidates that are also going after the same opportunity. And actually, Shelley has a really great story about being persistent.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. I was out interviewing, and I thought the interview went really, really well. I thought, everybody thought I had really good qualifications. But what I realized, or what I found out, is that I had some of the qualifications, not all of them, but because they did like what I did bring to the table, they actually asked me to come back and consider consulting, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for you to get in and realize and see if you like the company culture, if you realize you like the company in general, and if you really want to work there full time.
And it also gives you an opportunity to sell yourself into the company if you do want a full-time job.
Yep, it does.
And it also helps you get back into things, that you have things that you can talk to other people when you're trying to pursue either a job in industry or if you're trying to get more consulting jobs, that you can say, look, I haven't been sort of stagnant. I've really been working with other people and either in my industry or working on other projects. And it just shows that you're ambitious and you're diligent and you're hardworking.
And not a shut-in.
And not a shut-in.
Okay, Linda, I have one thing I have to state for the record. I'm really not a shut-in. I just traveled so much before, and I'm just really enjoying being home. I love being home in my new home. I love being home with my cats. I love having company over. I love being able to enjoy the wine.
That's right. And I can actually, for the record, say that Shelley is not a shut-in.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So those are the 7 essentials of executive presidents, right? So it's being positive and